brother. We got Charlie Faceplant Campbell. I'm kidding about that, but that's what happened to me when I bet him on the Contender Series. Unfortunate bet there. And now we got Alex Reyes on the other side. And Alex Reyes, guys, has not fought since 2017. He's from the Fox era, my brothers. And I did not know until today that this is the older brother of Dominic Reyes. That was an interesting side note to me here. But for me, when I look at this fight on paper, I just say to myself, do I want to lay a money line price like this on a UFC debutant? No, I do not. Do I want to do it after he burnt me at minus 150? No, I do not. When you look at that last fight, it was a short notice fight for Alex Reyes, and he took it at 170 pounds against Mike Perry, who's kind of a murderer, right? So like Mike Perry beat him up in the clinch. I watched that fight. It's not a very long fight. He got to him, and honestly, he knocked him out. Like, it wasn't one of these fights where like a guy is like, oh, I'm getting beat up, I'm going to quit. Like, he was knocked out, and then Mike Perry hit him with another one, and he was like, just like looking around. So he got brutally knocked out in that fight. But I think about like, and how this is not, don't quote me as making this comparison, but Jalen Turner debuts at 170 pounds. Vicente Luque sends him to the absolute depths of hell. But then I was like, fire your manager. Like, why did you get this fight at 170 against one of the biggest hitters, where this was almost an inevitability? Whereas at 155, we've seen what he can accomplish. It's very hard to put him away. He's a really good fighter and competitive with these top guys. So that's kind of an example for me where I'm like, is he going to perform better at 155? That's at least an open question. But the problem for me here with getting behind an Alex Reyes is like the entire career of Charlie Campbell, amateur and pro, has taken place in the time that this guy's been out of the octagon. So when you're talking about a guy that has a 6-year layoff, that's one thing. He's fighting a guy who has been, his entire career has taken place since 2018. This guy's last fight was in 2017, and he got brutally knocked out. So he might have been in the gym. He might have been staying active and, getting sweats in and doing all this stuff. But I could just tell you guys, what it was like for me when I hadn't competed in wrestling in like 3 years. And then I went out there for my first time in a jiu-jitsu white belt competition. The nerves were pretty serious, and I was able to get through it because I had some competition experience and things like that. But even still, I underperformed to what I was capable of because I was in my own head. I was like, wow, I'm back here competing. The nerves are there. You get more tired than you should. And this is a guy that already was a killer be killed guy that kind of gets out there and brawls a little bit. So when you've been out of the game for this long and you got a guy who's as dangerous as Charlie from the opening bell, who's trained by a really good team, who honestly was beating the absolute tar out of Chris Duncan until he got face planted in that fight because he got over aggressive because he hurt him. And I think that's something he can learn from. And I do think that a guy like Charlie Campbell, he's just from a team that's too sound. I feel like they're going to be like, listen, my brother, you need this win, so take this guy down. And I think he's going to take him down. And I think he's probably going to brutalize him. So give me Charlie Campbell, and I won't be surprised how he gets it done here. But I actually do think he's getting it done in the first round. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a weird one because I just don't know how to do the research on Alex Reyes, man, because he hasn't fought in forever. Like, what do I get out of him? Yeah, sure, he got one UFC fight and he got knocked out by Mike Perry. And by God, that was my favorite post-fight celebration ever when he just hit him with that, peacock dance, murdered him with that knee. But, yeah, I think this is a setup spot for Charlie Campbell. I think he could grapple him maybe early, and I'm just worried about the cardio of Reyes. Sure, you could be working out, you could be running, you could be hitting pads. But like you said, that adrenaline dump is real, and even though he has the competition experience, it's been such a long time back in front of the crowd, 6-year layoff, all accumulating to that moment. And all the meanwhile, Charlie Campbell's been in there. And the game changes, man. Like, the game changes. Think about MMA, just how far it's come in the last 6 years. Who was champion back when this guy last fought? It was like Chris Weidman or some shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. I'm gonna go with Campbell here. I don't want to go too into this one. I think Law MMA is a great camp. I think he's gonna win this fight, and that's all I got on this one, man.
No Rangers hat for me tonight, but, I will say them New York boys could teach you how to wrestle once again, and I feel like Charlie Campbell could potentially get some wrestling off here. He is not an undersized lightweight. That would be the one thing that would scare me off this if it's like a guy coming down from welterweight to a guy, who's a small lightweight. Charlie Campbell's a big guy at lightweight as well, so I think he's going to be well-suited here, and I think that he should have made it to the UFC, and he just, unfortunately, got knocked out. It's a brutal game. And I just think live and learn experience for him. And he's a savage. I feel like some people, it would break their confidence. I feel like this guy's like, all right, I got shut off. We'll do it again. Like, I feel like he'd get up and fight Chris Duncan again right after that. So it is what it is. And I feel like he's still a very talented fighter. So give me Charlie Campbell. But guys, minus 500, it is just like, don't banana peel yourself, either find a way to buy it down or just leave it alone, because it's MMA at the end of the day. And I always feel like my personal capping, and you guys maybe take a different approach, but I feel like a puncher's chance is around 15%, maybe a little bit smaller in some matchups where somebody doesn't have power or something like that. But we've seen Charlie Campbell get knocked out in the first round by a guy in Chris Duncan who's not a prolific. Every time he throws a punch, he knocks somebody out. He has some power, but he's not a one-punch knockout every time guy. So I do think, this guy has a puncher's chance around 15%. The line is probably about appropriate here, but, just don't get cute. That's